welcome back to ByStephieNics. So things may look a little different. I went a little blonder. Hi, do we like? Because I love. I literally just got it done this morning, like a few hours ago, and I'm still like on cloud 9. It's so beautiful, so just like soft and blended. And I thought it'd be a perfect day to just, you know, talk hair. I'm gonna give you the deets on what I got done, so if you're inspired and wanna get it done too, now you're gonna know what to tell your stylist. And also we're gonna take a little walk down memory lane, and I'm gonna share all my past hair colors, because there's been quite a few. I've been literally almost every color of the rainbow, and that is not an exaggeration. We're gonna talk about it. Let's just jump right in because I need to talk about this more. And on to the video. So this is my new hair. Say hello, welcome into the class. So here I'll show you a little picture of where my hair was starting out this morning. It's kind of what my hair has been for the past like 2 or 3 years. Just my natural brunette color that you can see right up there with caramel highlights. That's what I've been getting for the longest time. I really like the look. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. I was just ready for a little bit of a change, so we went a little brighter, a little lighter, a little blonder. So I'll just give you a full little look around so you can see what we're working with. But basically, if you're interested in this hairstyle and you wanna ask your stylist for it, this is what you're gonna tell them. What you're looking for is a soft, blended, beige balayage. Ignoring the front little pieces because that's a separate thing. But if you can see here, the color doesn't all start at the root like highlights would. It kinda comes in a blended way. Not all of them start at the same point. And if we look underneath, we have the same deal going on. Everything is nice and like blended in. Kinda, I feel like the appeal of the balayage technique is that your hair looks kinda lived in. It doesn't have that fresh, like, I just got highlights look where it's like right up to the root, and then like 2 weeks later, it's like my highlights are starting to grow out look. This, it looks great right when you walk out of the salon, and it'll look great in 3 months without having to do anything, because it'll just grow out a little more, and then it'll be a little more towards your ends, but still like that nice blended soft look. So I am a big fan of the balayage. Okay, and then I mentioned that the front pieces are a little separate. This is something that I always like to do. I ask for the front 2 pieces, like the face framing pieces, to have more color going up a little higher, but I very specifically said I don't want it all the way to my roots. I still wanted it like 1 inch from the roots. I just think it's so pretty. Like when you pull your hair back, you have that like nice bright piece. Like no matter what you do with your hair, that just like stands out really pretty. Goodness gracious, I'm just so obsessed with this color. I actually posted a ton on Instagram, like in my stories when I was getting my hair done today, and I saved all of them to a highlight, so it's still gonna be up on my page. And seriously, like it was so much fun putting this together, so go check it out. If you're not following me on Instagram, it's ByStephieNics, the same name. Check out the highlight, give me a follow, stick around, it's a fun time. If you live in New York and you're looking for a good colorist, I would totally recommend mine, and I'll have her information in the description box. She's amazing, the cutest lady. I love her so much. Okay, so I think that's kind of enough about my new hair, and now let's dive in to my hair history. I was gonna say the fun part, but like that was fun too. It's just the second fun part. Let's get into it. Welcome to Hair History by ByStephieNics. I'll be your professor today, and there is no syllabus. There will be a pop quiz, so prepare yourself. Okay, for real, let's get into it. So it all started way back when I was a young girl going into 7th grade. So I guess I was 12? No, 11. I was 11 at that point. So I'd been living 11 years with my just like brown curly hair, and for whatever reason, that moment I urgently needed to dye my hair red. Don't ask me where that came from. I have no idea, but it needed to happen. So I did what any other 11-year-old girl would do, and I went to my mom and asked her. I'm like, hey mom, could I dye my hair red? And most moms would be like, no. Your hair's fine. You're not dyeing your hair at 11 years old. But my mom's amazing, and she's like, sure, let's go to the salon and see what they can do. You're gonna see through this video, my mom is just like the coolest. So shout out to my mom. I love you. You're the best. Thanks for not calling me crazy. So little 11-year-old me and my mom go to the salon, and we sit down with like the colorist, this like professional woman, and my mom's like, yeah, so she wants to dye her hair red. And the colorist is like, this girl does not want to dye her hair red. I'm like looking like, yes, I do. The colorist is like, she doesn't want to be dealing with the roots at this age. It's just not right for her. We'll do highlights. I'm like, I think I know what I want, but okay, sure, highlights, whatever. I just really wanted to dye my hair, so I'd kind of say yes to anything, so we did. Red highlights. And that was my first step into hair color. I hope I can find some good pictures of this time. I'll definitely include them up here so you can see what we were dealing with. So that's where we were. I went back to junior high school that year with my dark brown hair and red highlights, a very like rocker look. I wasn't like going for the punk rock thing, but it happened because my colorist made me get the red highlights. Whatever, I really liked it. It was super fun, and I love that I had like my little like hair color originality. It was cool. Okay, so some of you are probably like wondering how my school took it, and they didn't know what to do with me because people in my school just hadn't done that before. So they didn't have any rules against it, and therefore didn't say anything to me. Pays to be an early rebel. So that was the deal with the red highlights. I had them all through 7th grade and most of 8th grade, and then one time when I was going to the colorist, I'm like, let's go blonde with the highlights this time. I want to see what that looks like. So we did that. I thought it was a really pretty look. It's funny, that was my first time with the blonde and now I'm back to it. It was not even anywhere close to this. It was just like some blonde streaks throughout. But when I switched from the red to the blonde, this was actually really interesting. It was the first time that I would get like comments from other people like giving me their opinions on my hair color and what I should be doing with my hair color. It was kind of weird. Like there were all these boys in other grades that I had never even talked to, and they would come up to me in the hall and be like, I like the red better, you should switch back to that. I'm like, okay, hi, nice to meet you. Like, what? People got opinions and they like sharing them. Definitely through that was like my first time like hearing all this stuff and being like, okay, I'm gonna filter that out because I'm doing my thing, but thanks anyway. Good little life skill that I picked up there. Hello. Got growth. So now let's jump over to high school. What I was doing for freshman year and sophomore year was pretty much the same the whole time. I would continue getting those red highlights, but I wouldn't redo them that often. So what would happen was as they like oxidized and just like through time, they would fade to kind of like a blondish highlight. And then every like bunch of months, I would go back and get the red refresh. But all through that time, I was kind of like itching like I want a little more. And eventually I did. So it was the summer going into 11th grade. So at this point I was 15. And I'm like, you know what? I've been like dealing with the red highlights, the blondish highlights for years. I still really want to dye my hair fully red. It was like deep down in my soul, buried there for years. So I went to my mom one morning and I like fully remember this so clearly. And I'm like, yeah, so I want to dye my hair red. And she's like, okay, like, yeah, you've been doing the highlights. I'm like, no, like the whole thing, just red. And here's where my mom is awesome again. She's like, okay, cool, let's figure it out. Like no fear, no like questioning me or anything. She was like so down, like this girl is like artsy and a little wacko, like let's figure this out. Oh goodness, I'm so lucky to have my mom. Okay, so at this point we went to a different salon because I'm like, I know that lady's not gonna help me. And we asked about, you know, dyeing my hair red. And it was a male colorist, and he was also very anti me dyeing my hair, which is like annoying. It's like, come on, it's business. Like, don't you want my money? They did not want my money. He was like explaining to me like the science and the chemical of hair color and how it's gonna be like so damaging to my hair and it's gonna be crazy with the roots and the upkeep and you don't wanna be doing this, girl. Are you crazy? I'm like, let me just do it. So he said no. My original colorist also said no. And at this point, I went to my favorite website in the world, youtube.com, where we're at right now, and I looked up how to dye your hair red at home. Yep, I sure did. So I watched maybe like 35 how to dye your hair red at home videos, and then I drove to Sally's. Well, I didn't, I was 15. My mom drove me to Sally's, and we went in and we picked up all the supplies that I had figured out from the internet that I needed, and we set up a little coloring station in my bathroom, and my mom dyed my hair red. Super freaking bright red. You cannot even understand how happy I was with the result. I have a picture here of the day after I dyed it red. I went to a concert, Maroon 5 back in the day, and I was just feeling myself. I was so excited about my new super bright red hair. Like this was 4 years of me wanting to do this and not getting it done, and finally I just, you know what, I did it myself and I was so happy. Dreams realized. In total, I had my red bright hair for 2 full years. They were some good years. It went through like some transitions, you know, up and down with what it looked like. At the start, I had red, just like kind of long-ish hair. And then one time I went for a haircut and the girl was like, your hair's so damaged, I'm cutting half of it off. Like my hair really was not damaged, but she cut like a lot off. And then it kind of just never wanted to grow back after that. I was stuck with like a short haircut. Low-key still mad at that hair cutter. Towards the end of senior year, that's when I started getting like a little like, not such a fan of the hair anymore for like a couple reasons. Number one, I was upset that it was stuck at that short length. So my solution for that was to look into extensions. I think the first thing that I got was just like a cheapo set of extensions, like super thin, like they weren't good quality, but they matched pretty well. They were bright red. I would wear them like occasionally, like for like special events or whatever. So I have some pictures of that. It really like wasn't enough to blend in with my hair. So I think I always wore like a hat to kind of like blend it all and hide the fact that it wasn't so good. Oh my God, I definitely dressed up like the Little Mermaid at that point. Oh my God, all the memories come back. So that was fun. I definitely like lived out the long red hair dream. I'll get to the second issue that I had with the red that actually like caused me to get rid of it. in a moment. But first, I want to talk about my high school's reaction to my red hair, because we totally skipped over that, didn't we? We did. I was so nervous to see my principal for the first time. Like before the first day of school that year, there was kind of like a welcome back like party. Everyone's like outside the school, like hanging out, like barbecuing or whatever. And then like all of a sudden she was like in front of me and she's like, "Hey, Steph." I'm like, "Hi." She's like, "Oh, like how was your summer?" I'm like, "It was good." Like terrified out of my mind. And she's like, "Your hair." I'm like, And this is amazing. She's like, "Have you gotten any like negative comments on your hair?" I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Okay." And that was it. Literally, that was it. No one ever from the administration ever said anything to me about my hair. Like I said before with junior high school didn't know how to deal with me either. No one had tried to walk in this building before with colored hair. I was just this like anomaly. They're just like, I guess just let her do it, because what are we gonna say about it? And that was kind of that. I got away with it for 2 years, no problems. I didn't even go to like such chill schools, but they were chill about me. Yep. So back to what we were saying, the second kind of issue that I was having with the red hair that, you know, ultimately caused me to stop dyeing it red was I felt like everywhere I went, everyone was staring at me. I didn't want to be like standing out as an attraction. I just wanted my hair to be pretty and fun, what I wanted. But I don't know, it was like really bothering me that I was like kind of like the center of attention, but like in a negative way. Like they weren't looking at it like they liked it. They were looking like, disapproving glance. So I was kind of like, you know what, with all this stuff going on, I think the red has run its course. It was a good 2 years, which is a super long time. I'm ready for something new. But this, and this is funny, this was right around like graduation time when I made this decision, but I already had plans to get more like permanent or like legit extensions. Went to this third salon, not any of the ones from before, and they were doing like micro beading extensions. So I got like a full head of micro bead, super bright red extensions. That sure was an experience. So it was really fun to have like the long red hair for senior dinner, graduation, all the graduation parties, all that stuff. And then as soon as I was out of school, I'm like, okay, we're ready for something else. During all that time that I was like kind of like not feeling the red anymore, I was so ready for blonde, like full everything bleach blonde, give it to me, just give it to me. So that was the next like walk into my mom's room, like, "Hey mom, back again." I want to go blonde. And she's like, "Okay, let's do it, let's go blonde." So to do this, I was not gonna like mess around with bleach at home. So I went back to the salon that I got the micro bead extensions. So I told them like, I want to go blonde, I want to like take the red out, go blonde. And they're like, "Okay, let's try." Like they were down, like they weren't gonna give me a hard time, they wanted my business, so we did it. It wasn't as simple a process as I thought it would be. Apparently stripping out red color is super, super difficult. It took a few like stages. So the first stage, when they like, you know, tried to get all the red out of my hair, I kind of walked out with blondish, pinkish, patchy hair. And of course I did this right before I was going on a trip. I was flying to Nashville that day. So I went to Nashville with just my like crazy mess of a hair color. But honestly, like looking back, like it wasn't that bad. I think it was kind of cute. Like it wasn't even, but it was a cute look, okay? So I was rocking the like pink, bleach blonde, crazy looking hair for like a little bit. And then I went back again for them to fix it after I came home. And they gave me kind of like this blonde color. My mom was like, "This is so beautiful." My sister's like, "This is so beautiful." And I'm like, this isn't blonde. Like I kind of wanted that like light, bright blonde that I had with the pink patchiness. I didn't really count that blonde color as blonde. It looked like a light brown to me. I was kind of really disappointed. But it was a lot of stuff being done to my hair, and I had gotten technically to a blonde, so at that point I stopped for a while. And this is also the summer before I was going to college. So I'm like, you know what, in junior high and high school I was like the crazy hair color girl. I just want to be like a little like tamer now. I'll go in with my like little more of a natural look. I want to be able to make friends, you know? So that's what I did. The whole time, like it looked pretty, but I still like I was missing the like real blonde that I was going for. So eventually I went back to the salon and I'm like, we're going blonder. And we went blonder. So making the transition over to a lighter, brighter blonde, I didn't think would be this difficult, but this is when things just really like took a turn, and goodness, the trauma of this time. So I went back to the salon and I'm like, we're going lighter and brighter. I want that real blonde look. And so they took out the extensions that wouldn't match. Oh my goodness, I'm just remembering when they tried to take me lighter, they ended up taking me like too light, and I walked out with literally like white blonde hair. Oh my God, I was just like, I am Draco Malfoy. I am not digging this. It is so extreme. Like I wanted like a light, pretty natural blonde. Like there was nothing wrong with this color. It was just, it was shocking to me and not what I chose. So I was kind of like, ugh, freaking out about that. So I went to now another salon and they put in like a dark rooting and tried to like fix the color. And like I said, like I wasn't doing this at home. I didn't want to mess with bleach. I kept going to like different salons, trying to get them to like make this blonde look good. And every time the roots would grow in, they wouldn't know how to deal with it. And I honestly don't even know how this happened, but I went to this male colorist one time and I'm like, fix my blonde, and he's like, we're going pink. I'm like, who asked for pink? But he's like, we're gonna go like a light pink, it'll be really pretty. And I'm like, okay. I don't know why, like I didn't ask for this pink. I really didn't. But anyway, he puts this pastel pink on my hair, and it really, like, it wasn't a great color job, even though I got it done professionally. And that's kind of like the theme going through this. I usually can do my hair better than them, all the shades. So I had this like light pink going on for a while, and then I went back to him like when that started growing out. I'm like, okay, like let's fix up the roots. And he's like, no, your hair is such a mess. It's such a problem. We can't do this. Your only option is to go back to dark brown. You just have to go to your natural hair color. I'm like, what? Like, what? How did we get here? So I remember I sat in this guy's chair for maybe 2 hours, and I'm just like, I don't want to do it. And the guy's like, so you ready to go back to brown now? I'm like, no, like continue with your other clients. Like I'm figuring out my life here. Eventually the guy comes back to me, the colorist, and he's like, okay, I thought of another option. What we can do is we can kind of fill it. We can go a little bit brighter pink. And I'm like, that, not the dark brown. Let's do pink. I don't even care anymore. I'm desperate. So this man threw a bright pink in my hair. Let's just soak that in. We had that bright bubblegum pink, not by choice, but I was rocking it. You know, give me whatever and I'll make it look cute. But again, like I'll throw in pictures here, like it was still, like it was kind of patchy. Like he didn't even do that great of a job with it. So I don't understand where these people got their degrees, but I didn't go back to him after that. Let me just say that. Oh wait, no, I did. I did go back to him. What is wrong with me? I really should have looked at another salon. Okay, trying to like jog my memory. So after the bright pink patchiness, I went back to him again when my roots were growing out, like to get them touched up with pink. That's what I thought I was going for. And this man, he refused me. He's like, no, I'm not doing it. We're going brown today. I'm like, no thank you. Like you came up with another option last time. Let's like really like workshop this and figure it out. He's like, well, I can leave your roots kind of dark and I can blend it into a darker color. Like, do you want to do purple? And I'm like, sure. We're doing like black to purple. So we did black to purple. This was a very intense look. Like I'm very pale, as we can all see. And having super dark into like this like bright, like electric purple. It was a lot. I didn't really like it then. I definitely don't like it looking back now. That was my most short-lived hair color because I was unhappy with it and I didn't like it. So what we did after the black to purple, this is fun. Like I have so many different pictures and memories. Okay, so after the black and purple, what I did next was obviously switch salons again. And I said, I want to go back to blonde, please. And this colorist, I think he was probably like the smartest of the bunch. He's like, we're going slow. We're just gonna do it like with highlights, like a whole bunch of blonde highlights, and just over time, over a few appointments, you're gonna get to the blonde you want. And I'm like, A-okay, that's a plan, let's do it. So over like this summer, I went back, I got a whole bunch of different like highlight appointments, and I really, like I hated that purple so much. So the purple at the end, he kind of like faded it. It turned into like a bluish green, but I thought that look was kind of cute, like the like light brown and then blondish to like blue ends. So I was like that for a while in my like transition phase, and I finally got to blonde, and then I'm like, let's cut that blue off. I just want to be blonde. And finally I was like this more naturally looking blonde that I was waiting a long time for. Went through a lot getting there. And this was probably like my favorite hair color that I've ever been, just this like pretty blonde. And I'm gonna be honest, sharing a little secret now. All these pictures that you're seeing is with extensions in, actually with my hidden crown extensions, which a lot of you probably know about from my channel. It's like a crown extension, it's on a wire. Totally love them. I have a full review, I'll put it right there. My natural blonde hair was, It was pretty short. It was pretty broken off. So I got the hidden crown. I think they were like 12 or 14 inches. So they were like a very natural length. I would always like clip back my like broken pieces so no one could tell. It blended really well. So I had my hair like that, this like really pretty blonde, the blonde that I always wanted to be. I had it like that for around a year. I would like go back to the salon each time and they would like do my roots. And it was always like kind of a struggle getting it to like look good. I don't know why it's so difficult. Like really, I don't get it. But every salon I tried, like they'd have a problem. And at the end of the year, like it had just been so much bleaching trying to get the blonde to look good. It just kept breaking off. I'm like, I'm losing the health of my hair through this. Honestly, love the blonde, but I'm getting sick of this whole process. I'm ready to go back to brown. And the way that I did it obviously was I took control back into my hands. I Googled how to dye your hair from blonde to brown at home, bought this stuff from Sally's, and me and my mom dyed my hair in my bathroom like the good old days. So that was a success. It was like pretty easy going from blonde back to brown. Basically the first attempt pretty much matched my natural roots and I never had to deal with it again. So this is how I had my hair for maybe 2 years, where I did not touch any bleach, no color, I didn't ask for highlights, I didn't get anything. I just wanted my hair to grow. And let me tell you, it grew. Thank God for that little miracle. And it was at this hair color that I started my YouTube channel. So back in the early days, I just had my dark brown hair, no other colors going on. And I would wear my hidden crown brown extensions and everything was good. It was fine for a while. Like if any of you have colored your hair before, you know, like you can't really step away from it for that long without getting the itch again. So it was after like 2 years of not dyeing my hair at all, and I was going for like a haircut or something, and I'm just like to my mom again, I'm like, Mom, I think I want to do something like really natural, just like a little bit of something. I Googled like some ideas and I got some inspiration pictures, and I went to my colorist and I said, I want to add in some just really natural like caramel highlights. I think that would look really nice, not be too damaging, but it would just add like a little bit of life to my hair. And that's what I did. And I was getting the caramel highlights for a super long time, literally up until this morning. Hello, we stepped away from it now. And the caramel highlights was kind of like the perfect transition between all that craziness with the red and the bleach and the purple and pink and blue. Most of it was like not being touched by color at all, so it was staying really healthy. I was getting those touched up maybe like every 6 months, every year. Like I would just like let them grow out. And let me give you a tip for what I asked for when I was getting the highlights. So what I asked her was, I said, I want really natural highlights, nothing like thick or chunky. And I don't want anything on the top layer of my hair. I don't want to be able to see when it's growing out, but underneath I got lots of highlights so that when I like moved my hair around, like you could really see it, but it's just nothing was coming from the top where you would see it like growing out. After maybe like a year and a half of doing it like that, I ended up figuring out that I wanted the face frame pieces at least colored. So I would get just those done, but that's the only thing that I had on my like top layer. Everything else, I always said to her, don't touch the top layer. But yeah, hold up. We've reached the end of the little like hair timeline because we started out talking about this one. Yay, we did it. I've been wanting to film this video literally since I started a YouTube channel. I was always like really upset that I hadn't started the channel back when I had like my red hair, my blonde hair, like something fun. I started it as soon as I got into like my boring transition phase, which is brown. I never got to show you guys the fun stuff. So I always wanted to like take a little like walk back and show you all that stuff, talk through my crazy teenage younger days. So thanks guys for sticking with me through this little hair journey that we went on today. I had a super fun time telling you guys about all my stuff. I hope you had fun listening to it. If you did, scroll down and just leave a like for me real quick before you click out. That'd be super cool of you, so thank you. And if you've stuck around to the end of the video, I feel like at this point, just go down, subscribe, ring the notification bell to get notifications on your phone every time I post, the whole deal. You want to stick around and catch more videos, that's what you gotta do. And I'm kind of scared to say this, but comment question of the video, tell me down below what your favorite hair color of mine from the whole collection was. I want to hear you guys' thoughts. And with all that said, I'm gonna let you guys run. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. And as always, this was ByStephieNics.